Alright, greetings gamers, Agent SN. Welcome to another reaction. Greetings gamers, Agent SN. Welcome to Agent Reacts, and today I'm reacting to the top 50 best Nintendo DS RPG. Actually no, it's the top 50 best Nintendo DS JRPGs ever, random order, and of course this is from Eric Landed RPG. Once again, I'm reacting to his videos again. Without further ado, let's go. Let's see what he has on this list. It'll be interesting to see what he has.
Number 50, Dragon Quest IX.
Oh, I knew this would be
one
on
of the latest
here.
games in the series, developed by Level 5. It felt more quest-driven than previous titles.
I knew this would be on here for sure.
Features such as a multiplayer mode. The game included a more dynamic turn-based.
I really want to play this game. I'll get to it probably in about a year or so, when I finish more games on my
removal of
backlog.
random encounters for the first time.
But yeah, I knew this would be on here. I knew a fact
Number
it would be on here.
49, Nostalgia.
I never even heard of this game
Nostalgia
before.
is
Wow.
another turn-based
This one looks cool.
RPG
Never heard of
here.
it.
It was developed by Red Entertainment, creators of the Sakura Wars games, and Matrix Software, creators of Alundra. The game is obviously a love letter to classic RPGs of the 90s, mixing fantasy
This
elements
looks cool.
with
Maybe I'll
steampunk.
play it.
Other things
never
that
actually
stand
heard
out
of it
are
until
the
now.
cities that are named after real cities from around the world. Pretty solid game here, definitely a hidden gem. Number 48, Rune Factory 3.
I thought I
Upon
didn't
meeting
care for
wholesome
Factory.
success with the first two titles, the third game arrived to improve its gameplay mechanics and graphics. As usual, the amnesiac protagonist will meet an upbeat girl who will help him raise the town's farm.
Of course.
You'll be partially doing this simulation while fighting enemies in an action RPG system on dungeons and areas. Number 47, Drone Tactics.
Never heard of this one either.
Extremely obscure strategy RPG.
It looks like
produced
Advance
by
Wars,
Atlus.
to be honest.
It's basically a game for beginners into the genre.
It looks a lot like
Obviously aimed at
Advance
kids.
Wars.
However, it's very good with neat controls,
Oh, it's not
balanced
Advance Wars.
difficulty, and
It
cool
doesn't.
ideas.
Well,
The most
well,
notorious
it doesn't
idea
look
is
like
that
it.
every character controls a giant
Actually,
bug
it
that
does.
is
Never mind,
partially
it does.
mechanized of a race of insects whose world is in
It
zero
looks like
danger.
Advance Wars with bugs.
So, for
It's
great
Advance
base
Wars
battles
with
against their
bugs. That's
enemies,
what it
these
looks like.
kids
Advance
must
Wars
now
with
save
bugs.
this bizarre world. Number 46, Pokemon Black and White.
Oh, I thought I didn't like
The
Pokemon.
first versions of the 5th generation of Pokemon. A few new features were there this time, such as the triple battles and the rotation battles. Of course, the other types of battles are also there,
But-
plus several minigames.
So I
and the
love
usual
Pokemon
rare
Generation
Pokemon
5.
that's
It's definitely my
really hard to
second
get.
favorite generation. And Black and White 2 is definitely one of my favorite games on the DS, and a
Number
masterpiece.
45, Disgaea DS. It's merely a port of the original Disgaea.
Oh, wow,
Hour
that's
of
port of the
Darkness,
first
but it's from
Disgaea.
the PSP version, so it's a port of
Even
the
though I'm probably going to
port.
play it on PC.
Just like that
I'm
version,
probably
it
going to play the
includes
PC
the
version
multiplayer
or the
mode
complete
and
version
the
on
Etna
Switch or
alternate
PS4.
story. Also, the Geo Cubes and the Demon Gadgets were there as well, but it also includes some unlockable characters from Disgaea
Oh, wow,
1
cool.
and 2.
Alright, what's next?
Number 44,
Oh,
Digimon
Digimon.
Dusk and Dawn. Just like Pokemon had done several times before, its competition found a way on the Nintendo DS to release their own parallel versions. Dawn and Dusk were the product of
I've
this.
never played Digimon
However,
before, but I
they're
do have
actually called
interest in
Digimon
trying them.
Story, which means they're part of that series, not the Digimon World series.
I think
As
I'll-
usual,
I think
they
I'll get
take
to them
place
soon.
around the digital world, with the
Oh,
player
well,
trying to
well,
stop a
maybe not
mysterious
soon,
phenomenon
but at
occurring
some
to the
point.
Digimon.
At some point I'll get to them.
Number 43, Children of Mana.
I've heard of this one,
This
never
is the
played it
sixth
though.
main game in the Mana series, about 4 children trying to stop
But it's
a
a
monster
series that I do want to
invasion.
try.
Unlike previous Mana games, this is a dungeon crawler where characters delve deep into randomly generated areas or dungeons. It also featured a
So,
multiplayer
yeah.
campaign, and in my
I
opinion,
tried this one.
that's exactly where this game truly shined. Number 42, Legacy of Ys, Books 1 and 2.
Oh, I didn't know they had this.
This is one of the many remakes of the original Ys games.
Oh, it's a remake
Books 1
of-
and 2.
Oh, it's a remake of the
Technology
original
is deeply
Ys 1 and
connected in
2.
terms of story,
'Cause I know
graphics, characters and gameplay.
because I know
Pretty
Ys 1
much
and
being
2
the
have been,
same
like-
game cut into 2
They've
volumes.
been like
While the
remade,
PSP
remastered
version of this
multiple
game
times.
is superior, this one added
The
a
original
hack
Ys and
feature
Ys
where
2
players
have,
could
I
have
think.
battle attacking with his sword
But I
instead
know
of
there was a
bombing.
DS version.
Yeah, definitely still a great version to play.
Didn't know there was a DS version.
Number 41.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy
3.
3. This is one I
Full
need to
remake
play.
of the original third entry in this legendary series. While it still respected its quest-driven nature, it gave the four main characters more personality and story to go on. For a handheld of its time,
I need to play
the
this one, even
2DS
though it's
graphics
like
of
one of
this
the
game
hardest in
look
the
beautiful.
series.
Overall, a worthy remake for fans of the series. Number 40, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time.
Yay!
The second
Even
game
though
in
I
the
prefer
series,
Bowser's
sequel to
story.
Superstar Saga on the GBA. Now, the brothers will travel through time in search for Princess Peach. The cool feature is that you are accompanied by baby versions of Mario and Luigi, who can also partake in battle. It's a fun game with the usual comedic story, and don't worry, no need to play its predecessor to fully understand and enjoy this one.
He has a great game, even though Bowser's story is better.
Number 39, Etrian Odyssey. The first game in a series that's gained a little bit more attention nowadays. It's a dungeon crawler in first person where you need to draw the map with the stylus at the bottom of the screen.
Wasn't a big fan of
Etrian
Etrian Odyssey.
Customized characters will participate in this adventure, all
Yeah,
available
including
on
a lot
different classes and job
that
systems.
he's not a big fan
Don't
of.
expect this game to be friendly though, as it can be pretty hard most of the time.
Which is fine, of course.
Number 38, The World Ends.
Yes! It's on here! I knew it'd be on
really
here!
enjoy this
I've actually been playing through the sequel, Neo The World Ends With You, which I have 2 videos on my main channel coming soon about it.
Because I know a lot of people liked it, and since its remake on the Switch didn't do very well, most will stay with this original DS version.
I'm probably gonna play Final Remix, to be
modern
honest.
style, with half the soundtrack being far away from my musical tastes. I couldn't get into the battle system either, being a weird combination of action, turn-based, and timed attacks.
I mean, you're not wrong, I guess.
But it's here, so this one's for you all.
Oh, I see. Included it for all of us.
Dragon Quest IV.
So
Here's
what
another
if he
remake,
likes
the first
Neo
one
The
of
World
the
Ends With
second
You?
Dragon
What's it-
Quest trilogy from 4 to 6. This remake having
Oh yeah, and
more
Dragon
friendly
Quest
gameplay,
4.
better graphics,
I need to play
controls,
more
and
Dragon
interface,
Quest games.
makes
Played
it the
11
best
so
version
far.
of it to play nowadays. Number 36, Shin Megami Tensei Devil
Devil's
Survivor
Survivor
2.
2.
Developed by original creators of Langrisser and Grow Lancer,
Oh,
this
wow.
sequel is unrelated
I
to its
didn't know that
predecessor
was
in
made by
terms of
them.
story. It's a brand new conflict in Tokyo with a new cast of characters. The gameplay improved a little, but it retained the addictive elements from the first one, combining a grid-based strategy map system while going on first-person turn-based for the battles. One of the best JRPGs released on the DS. Number 35, Magical Star Sign.
This is
It's
another
a
one that
sequel
never
to
heard
a
of.
Japan-exclusive RPG called Magical Vacation on the GBA. This one is a charming game aimed for kids about a group of students trying to find their missing teacher. To do this, they'll go around the universe, but not before reuniting with each other first. A turn-based battle system
never heard of
combines
this
the
one
classic
before.
elemental features, as every character is of one element. Your male or female protagonist, though, will always be light. Great game here, very easy to enjoy and get into. Number 34, Glory of Heracles. Another hidden gem like Magical Star Sign is this
Another one I never heard
NDS
of.
exclusive,
It looks cool,
obviously
of course.
revolving around the Greek mythology. It is the 6th game, actually, of a long-time running series in Japan, but the first one ever to be localized. As far as I'm concerned, you don't need to play the others to understand this one. I love how the turn-based battles implemented correctly the use of the stylus. To cast the awesome magic spells, you need to attack your enemies. Number 33, Phantasy Star Zero. One of the several spin-offs in the Phantasy Star world. As usual,
I didn't know that there were Phantasy Star games in the
be a part of the Guardians. Like in its brothers Phantasy Star Online and Universe, players will secure areas, fight monsters, beat the boss, and enjoy the main story in offline mode. Honestly, it's not one of the best in the series, but it's still a treat for fans of it.
Oh wow.
Number 32, Hero Saga Leviathan Tactics.
Another
An
one.
obscure strategy RPG where world, characters, and even speech take influence from the medieval Spain. A campaign to unravel a political plot will put you in the shoes of several characters and their platoons. During these grid-based maps, they will confront enemy platoons in a rock-paper-scissors battle system that involves different types of attacks. Overall, it's got very original and unique ideas, but that also makes it somewhat hard to get into.
But we'll see, of course. Yeah.
Number 31, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky. I chose this one over the others because it's an enhanced version of Explorers of Time and Darkness. All mystery dungeon games are the same actually. They're pretty basic roguelike RPGs that put you in control of
I've never really
or
been
several
into lots of the
Pokemon to
Pokemon
explore
spin-offs,
randomly
to be honest. I mean, I
generated
love the
dungeons.
mainline games,
As
obviously.
in any other game of its
Like,
genre, they'll
I can't really
give
get
levels
into a
and
lot
items
of the
and fight
spin-offs
in
for some
one-on-one battles in
reason.
a turn-based regimen.
Especially
If you
Mr.
aren't into
Dungeon.
roguelike games
I
like you like
can't really
Pokemon,
get into Mr.
this could
Dungeon.
be a great entry to them. Number 30, Rhapsody, a musical adventure. This is a remake of a PlayStation strategy RPG published by Atlus in the West. Story, characters and music barely changed, so the only thing that stands out is the battle system, because in the original it was grid-based and here it's merely based on turns. It's a silly but charming story with tons of comedy about a girl who's in love
I don't
with
think I've
a
heard of
prince.
this one either.
One of those many cutesy girly video games done right. Number 29, Infinite Space. Infinite Space is a weird but highly unique game that combines space travel simulation. It involves a two-arc story with a time jump,
Never heard of this one either. There's a
micromanagement
lot
of
of
several units on
there's
the
a lot of
ship,
hidden
and
gems on
battles
here,
that
for
also
sure.
require the use of Set's ship.
I've never
These
heard
can be
of,
slow and
obviously.
tedious as you start the game, but enjoyable to an extent of understanding its mechanics. But I'd like to think this is a game you play mostly for the story and characters. Number 28, Final Fantasy IV.
This
More
one
remakes. It's
I need
actually
to play.
great, with beautiful graphics in the same style as the Final Fantasy III remake. It's just that they made this version particularly harder than
Yeah, they
all
made
the
this version
others.
really
But hey,
hard.
if you enjoy a good challenge,
At least
give
the
this amazing
PC
remake
and
a
mobile
chance.
ports have
Number 27,
have
Luminous
an
Arc.
easier mode.
A pretty simple grid-based strategy RPG for beginners. There's 4 games in this little series, but we only got the first 2 on the DS. It revolves around a group of orphans that belong to a special unit trained
there
by
one
the
I've ever
Luminous
heard of?
Church. Their goal is to hunt down the witches, but of course, as the story progresses, they'll soon notice nothing is what it seems. Decent story, decent characters, art style, graphics, and an isometric battle system that's pretty fun to play and easy to get into. Number 26, Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside
Yay! It's
Story.
on here.
The third game in this series developed by defunct company Alpha Dream. Our plumber brothers somehow end up inside Bowser's body as miniatures, but they're gonna have to help him if they want to get out first. Several gameplay mechanics and a variety of battle objectives are there, giving the game fresh ideas, making it more
This one,
dynamic. I'm not a fan of these series,
this
but I
is
gotta
my
say this is
favorite,
the one I've liked the most out of the whole bunch.
RPG on the DS. Or one
Number
of my favorites,
25,
actually.
Golden Sun, Dark Dawn.
Here's another one I want to play.
Well, it's the black sheep that killed the series, but it's still a decent game in my opinion.
Yeah, we need
You
new
now play
Golden
as the
Sun
sons
on
of
the
the
Switch.
protagonists of the first 2 games. It looks quite good with its new 3D graphics, and the overall gameplay with turn-based combat and puzzles is still there.
It needs to happen.
Complaints
New
were
Golden Sun on
mostly
Switch,
about
please.
its outdated visuals, mechanics, and nonsensical dialogue at times. I agree it's not as good as the other 2, but I still think it's pretty solid. Number 24, Suikoden Tear Cries. The first game in the series to be unrelated to all the others, considered as a spin-off through and
Yeah,
through.
it's a spin-off.
No more war battles or duels,
I never
sadly,
played,
and a party
a
watered
Suikoden
down to
game
only
before,
4
but-
combatants.
but I really want to.
Nevertheless, it's all fun, charming, with great music, nice controls, perfect difficulty, and balanced gameplay. As a huge fan of Suikoden, I really like this game, and it's actually one of the very best RPGs on the DS. Number 23, Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans. One of the many RPGs based on this iconic franchise, but also one of the very few we got. It's the usual retelling of the Saiyan invasion arc, but with a few differences to adapt to the game. What stands out is the battle system, which I thought was awesome, despite being somewhat simplistic. But I grew up with this series, and as an RPG fan, the fusion of the two was like a dream come true. Number 22, Bleach, the Third Phantom. Another RPG based on a popular manga is this strategy RPG. Very obscure though, as
I
Sega
didn't
did
know that
zero
this game
marketing for it,
existed.
instead focusing on
I
the
mean, I knew
fighting
there were
games.
Bleach games,
Not a fan
yes,
of Bleach
but not
here,
this
so I
one.
understood very little of the
Didn't know there was one on
background.
the DS.
But the main plot was pretty self-explanatory with its 2 new protagonists. I really enjoyed the battle mechanics here. Challenging, simple to understand, and with these awesome animations during combat. Number 21, Kingdom Hearts 358 Days and a Half. I guess this game is what marked the beginning of the memes, the jokes
I haven't
around
played
the
this
convoluted
game, but I
story
have
of this
seen the
overrated
HD
franchise. I personally
remake
enjoyed this game
cutscenes
because I played it
in
not long after
1.5
having
remix.
finished Kingdom Hearts 2, so I was curious to know more about Roxas and Organization 13, and to be able to play as most of its members certainly gave me the
I like
pulse
how he
needed.
included this
It doesn't
on here,
have the
even though
best controls, but it's still playable and
he
enjoyable.
can't get into Kingdom Hearts.
Number 20, Izuna, the Unemployed Ninja.
Here's another one I haven't heard of.
2 games were released on the DS for this wacky heroine, but the first one is the one I play the most. Roguelike RPG where you enter a dungeon that changes every time. Not for beginners, even though it looks like one. It's pretty damn hard actually, but it's full of charisma, silliness, and a very memorable main character who's, well, unemployed. Number 19, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon.
This is one that I really want to
done
play.
with remakes, and my personal favorite on the DS is definitely Shadow Dragon. Remake of the very first Fire Emblem ever, released originally on the Famicom only in Japan. Well, it got a remaster last year on the Switch, didn't it? Anyway, I still think this one is the best version to play. Its sequel also got a remake, and it's a better game in my opinion, but it also stayed in Japan. At least it's fan-translated.
Yeah.
Number 18, Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Yeah, my
Speaking
favorite
about
Pokemon
remakes,
game.
here are the ones of Heart and Gold for the Game Boy Color. I remember the physical versions of these games came in a neat box with a Pokewalker. Anyway, this is a top 50 video on the Nintendo DS, so I thought some Pokemon games definitely needed to be here, even though I'm not a fan. Just know these two are among the most popular, probably for good enough reasons.
Was Veloz.
Number 17, Rondo of Swords. Rondo of Swords is another highly obscure strategy RPG on the system.
Another one
that's brutally hard, where you can even die easily at the tutorial. It's very different, as you don't just select your enemy to attack. Instead, you gotta draw a line with your selected party member to perform a series of actions. Enemies will be attacked, although they can sometimes block or dodge. Allies will get bonuses if they were in your selected line. Story is great here, so definitely applause for putting up with this great game's insane difficulty. Number 16, Avalon Code. Matrix Software strikes again, now with yet another unique action RPG. The whole point of the game is to fill the Book of Prophecy by making a record of pretty much anything and anyone. For this, your male or female character will participate in several different quests to get important things recorded on it. This is a pretty good game, but let me warn you, it takes a while to really understand it, and it can be somewhat slow at the beginning, but trust me, it pays off. Number 15, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor.
Yep, yeah.
The first game released at the duology with a darker story than its sequel, but unrelated to it. Both games are pretty challenging, but I feel this one wins by a landslide. Some missions can be utterly impossible, but the reward is good enough. All in order to keep buying demons and fusing them to get the best abilities possible. No need to mention the extremely badass soundtrack it has to keep you going with the challenge. Number 14, Atelier Annie. This is a little spin-off that went unnoticed on the Nintendo DS. It's like a pocket, or in this case a handheld version of the Atelier game.
I didn't know there even was an Atelier game on the DS.
Except this one has its own characters and story, taking place on an island. All the Atelier features are there, like the quests involving fetching, gathering, synthesizing, etc. And its turn-based battle system that resembles the retro titles that stayed in Japan. Give this one a try, it's pretty fun despite its short appeal. Number 13, Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume.
I might try Valkyrie
Another spin-off here, a very tough bastard with different roots and endings. Lenneth is now the antagonist, as Will seeks revenge against her for taking his father to Valhalla. He'll do so with the power of the plume given to him by the goddess Hel in a very dark pact, but to make it work, he needs to sacrifice one of his allies per chapter. So if you combine this with the tactical battlefield, with the usual AP restricted system when doing combat, you get, as a result, a very, very hard game.
Oh.
Number 12, Dragon Quest V.
I knew this one would be on here.
The second remake of the Zenithian trilogy of Dragon Quest. This one gained a lot of popularity because Netflix produced a movie based on it. The game features a time system with character progression, meaning you'll see
which
your
I did watch Dragon
grow
Quest
through
Your
the
Story. It's actually pretty
from
good.
when he's a little kid till he's married and has his own kid. Excellent remake here, definitely among the best RPGs on the system. Number 11, Away, Shuffle Dungeon.
Never heard of this one.
No one noticed Miss Walker was also working on some DS titles. This very addictive and original game is one of them. An action RPG where you need to restore the town and its people. To do that, the protagonist will face random enemies in these puzzle areas. It makes great use of the DS dual screen because as soon as one starts shaking, you need to run to the other one so you can shift. Once it shifts, it's time to move on to the next floor. At the end of each level, you'll fight a boss in this 3D perspective. Not with the best controls, but still manageable with nothing too disruptive. Number 10, Solo to Robo, Red the Hunter. I hope you find a way to play this excellent and overlooked game. An action RPG where you control Red, a hunter that travels around in a ship with his friend, looking for adventure. I love how you can just grab any enemy and throw it around to damage it. That only adds more fun to its already great battle mechanics. I know it's very expensive, but didn't I say find a way at the beginning? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
And it's hard to find a way.
Number 9, Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light.
Oh yeah,
nope,
this one.
It's no remake or port or anything. Brand new game that
I've never
really
played this one
revamped
before,
the
but might
formula
try it.
of the original Final Fantasy games with characters and their job system. It was developed by Matrix Software and published by Square Enix. It's a good game, especially if you like retro RPGs. A small trivia is that this game was going to have a sequel, but instead that idea evolved later into Bravely Default.
Oh yeah, it did.
Interesting, huh? Number 8, Chrono Trigger.
Yes, it's on here.
I wouldn't call this a remake, more like an enhanced port for a
Yeah, it's more
handheld
of
system.
a port.
Apparently the DS was a fantastic home for it, as this is how many people got to play this game. One of the most historically important JRPGs of all time,
This is one that I need to
revolutionary
play.
and influential. Number 7, Sands of Destruction.
Never heard of this one.
Want to play a game where you control the antagonist? Well, not exactly, but I don't want to spoil the game. Let's just say a bunch of people drag Kirill, the main character, to be a part of the end of the world in this great RPG story written by Masato Kato, author of the Chrono games. Number 6, Lunar Knights. Lunar Knights is part of the Boktai series created by Hideo Kojima. They started on the Game Boy Advance with 3 games, though we only got the first 2. Great action RPG here, with several gameplay mechanics and a dual protagonist feature. I think it's one of the best hidden gems on the system.
To say the least.
Number 5, Radiant Historia.
Another one I need to play.
A great story about a magical chronicle book that's bestowed
Even
upon a soldier in
gonna
order to alter events by going back in time. A masterful battle system played in turns, but with your enemies on grids. To make your attacks efficient, you gotta work with the elements and the position of your foes. The goal is to create combos to do more damage and achieve victory. Everything is masterful here. The music, the plot, the character development, the gameplay, the graphics, and of course these battle mechanics you're seeing right now. Number 4, Blue Dragon, Awakened Shadow. Blue Dragon on the 360 got 2 sequels. One of them was called Plus, but it's not
2 sequels?
a
I
very
didn't know
good
they even
game
had
in my
sequels.
opinion. The third and final game of the trilogy is much better. An action RPG where you'll play as your customizable character alongside the cast of the original game. The quest will be to find the mystery behind the disappearance of everyone's shadows as you reach a story conclusion for the intriguing
universe want to play Blue Dragon
at some point. Number 3, Super Robot Tyson OG Saga, Endless Frontier.
Maybe I have.
This one is a crossover that combines an original story and characters, but it also features other guests like Cosmos from Xenosaga. It also got a sequel that stayed in Japan, but at least we got the first part of the long-running Wild Super Robot Wars series, although this is a standalone title. If this combat looks familiar to you, that's because it's what preceded Namco Cross Capcom on the PS2. which eventually led to Project Cross Zone.
Oh,
Anyway, this is a
yeah.
great game. Don't be fooled by its comedic and sexy nature. It is also one of the best RPGs on the system. Number 2, Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey.
Here's another one of my
A group of special ops is sent to investigate a spatial distortion in Antarctica. Protagonists will then have to traverse really large labyrinths and dungeons to help find the cause.
Even though I've heard
aided
this
by
one
a
is like
special
really,
power
really
to
hard.
control demons to fight by his side. By entering negotiations, you can try to recruit them to then fuse them and get better demons. It's your usual Shin Megami Tensei, but with a strong touch of originality in story and characters. Can't go wrong with this one.
Even though it's probably going to be like really hard.
Number 1, Dragon Quest
I knew this one would be on
Realms of Revelation.
And this high on the
The
list.
third remake of the Zenithian trilogy, but this one was now developed by Arte Piazza, not Heartbeat.
Wow.
The heroes seem to have amnesia and can't remember who they were before when fighting an evil lord, so they must reunite and travel, alternating between the real world and the dream world until they connect all the dots.
This is one that I need to play. Yep. Alright, that's it for my video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Agent F out.